Oh, that was a long loop. That was like a 12 bar. That's your practice for next week to do a 12 bar loop and see if you can hit in on the one.
Well, welcome back to Andertons TV.
Hello, everybody.
Take yourself back to the 1950s, 1958 to be precise.
58.
And just imagine you're a budding electric guitar player and think of what's happening. You know, the Tellys come along, the Strats come along, the Les Pauls come along. We're even probably starting to see early versions of things like Flying V's. And then 1958, Gibson come along and go.
Come along.
What about one of these? Which actually, to be fair, you'd be forgiven for thinking maybe this should have come earlier, because you're talking about a great big heritage of jazz guitars, you know, the kind of like where Gibson really came from. And then all of a sudden they kind of go, well, what if we sort of take a Les Paul, which if you just sort of cut right down the middle here and sort of, you know, we're in very Les Paul territory, stuck a couple of semi-hollow wings on it.
Mickey Mouse ears.
Yeah. We get this thing called a 335, which then, you know, also spawned tons of variants of.
Where does that even come from, the name 335? Is that something to do with the scale length? Is it the money of what it costs?
That's like the Martin. $35.
That was like the Martins. That was the same. It was a D18 was $18. D28 was
Some
$20.
people, even nowadays, if we were to do a video and call a guitar that was $335 affordable, people go, that's not affordable. Imagine what $335 cost. I mean, how many weeks' money would that be in 1958? I remember my father-in-law, bless him, passed away now, but he was gigging in like a skiffle band late 50s, and I think he was saying he was on £20 a week, which was a really good salary then.
In 58?
Yeah, doing literally, might have been more like 60, I don't know, but it was that era. But it was I don't know, about 7 nights a week, but it was like every night and then like 3 times a night sometimes sort of thing, but doing all the holiday camps and military bases and dance halls and everything. But yeah, 20. So all I'm saying is like £20 a week. That's still, what, 15, 16? That's 4 months of all your money. No tax, no rent, no nothing. Just to buy one of these. Imagine that in like, what's the modern equivalent of that?
Well, it depends on what it depends on what you make. I mean, if you make 2,500 quid a month before tax or whatever, £3 grand, that's 12 grand, 9 grand. So that'll be a 9 grand guitar in equivalent for 3 months' time, right?
So we're going to talk about the 335 and why.
So actually, it makes perfect sense. Actually, these are cheap when you think about it compared to
especially the one that you're holding.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
This is a beautiful top, by the way. I'm just to scurry in there that this top is wonderful.
Tell me about when you think of 335, and I guess the title of this video, was it Larry Carlton or one of those sort of like preeminent kind of players sort of coined that phrase of it's the most versatile guitar that there is.
I think it's more than him that said that, but I think the first time we've just had, you know, Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox and all that. That was my first encounter with the three. I've seen Chuck Berry. I'd watched B.B. King live, but it never really. It was a black. He had the Lucille, and it's never caught my eye till I watched Back to the Future, where he went, you know. And that was in my head.
So you're talking Chuck Berry, aren't you? Really?
But Chuck Berry, you know, yeah.
So you're almost. So Chuck Berry, is he the guy that you first associate?
No. Marty McFly.
Right.
I've seen, but then you go, oh, it's a cousin. This is my cousin.
Chuck, it's Marvin. Your cousin, Marvin Berry. You know that new sound you're looking for? Well, listen to this.
This is your cousin, Barry, whatever. Listen to this. This is your new sound, and he's obviously calling Chuck Berry up. So he's in the film, he's calling Chuck Berry up and going, hey, listen to this sound, man, you know. Right. So I didn't really know about Chuck Berry back then. I think I've played some of the stuff that I've learned, you know, when I was being taught guitar. I was playing all the classics, you know. I learned all that stuff, but I never thought that, oh, it's a 335 he's playing, till I saw Marty McFly play that, and he was doing all the rock stuff and all that. And that's when it clicked, going, that guitar is absolutely epic. And that was, for me, that was my first sort of big instruction. I'm sure they've been around because I listened to my mum and dad's albums and they had all of the stuff on it. The Beatles had played it, but it wasn't a thing in my head. What would have been then? 14, 15, 13? I don't know, something like that. 90.
I can't.
When it came out. I don't know.
I don't know that I necessarily... I want to say B.B. King was probably the first guitar player that I really listened to that played
with the sound,
a 335 style guitar.
But it didn't click with me. I didn't see guitars back then. You know what I mean? It was just like, oh, I like that song. It wasn't like, oh, he's playing that guitar. That was sort of way later. But I think Marty McFly, Back to the Future, seeing that guitar, I was like, whoa, what is that?
But it is a guitar that is... You're going to see jazzers playing this.
Yeah.
You're going to see blues guys playing this.
Yeah.
You're going to see rock guys playing this.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on what genre you decide to put a guitar player like Dave Grohl into, you're going to see sort of heavy rock stuff being played on this. I'm trying to think. My knowledge of the sort of the country guys is not great when it comes to thinking of players that might have played 335. So forgive me.
Yeah, me neither, really. It is more your Chuck Berry and your B.B. King and your Albert Collins. Not Albert Collins, Albert King.
Albert King.
You know, the Kings were playing. He had the strap over here, and he was like, you know, he was doing all that stuff. But I think for me, it didn't come till later on that I was getting into players, and I wasn't into guitar first. I was just into the song. I don't think people realize what the guitar is. I don't think that's so important for people that's just starting out. I don't know if I'm wrong.
Well, no. So, okay, so let's try and break this down. So if you're watching this and maybe you've been playing for a little bit and maybe you've got a Strat copy or a Tele copy or something like that, an all solid guitar, and you're thinking, what is it about the 335 style? And we've got an Epiphone and a Gibson here.
Yeah, this is the 60s with the different block inlays. That's the dot inlays. So there's some differences.
There's lots of other brands that will do their sort of version of this style of guitar. What would you say the sort of the pros and the cons of a 335 are? And maybe just give us some tones as well as you're sort of going.
Yeah, I just think that you've got pros and cons. I don't think there's any... Maybe the cons would be that it's a semi-hollow, so you've got a block and it can feed back a little bit. If you're playing live and there's a drummer with a certain low kick drum and a bass together, it can give you some feedback. I know when I've used my 335, that has been an issue on bigger stages. But that's the only thing, I think. The rest of it is it gives you that Les Paul vibe because of the humbuckers, but just with a bit more hollowness and a bit more articulation. I think there's almost more.
I kind of feel on that. I suppose I've got a red 335.
Yeah, I saw mine.
Yeah, I'm 6 foot tall, sort of medium build, whatever like that.
Yeah.
It's a big guitar, even on me.
Yeah.
I remember seeing. We interviewed Emily Wolfe, who has her own Epiphone signature, and she's a smaller stature. I don't know exactly how tall she is, but say 5'4", something like that, 5'5", and it's a big guitar on her. So I guess a bit like an acoustic. So that would be I would probably factor that in. Just is it going to be the most comfortable guitar to play if you're maybe a smaller person? Interestingly, that feedback thing. It's worth pointing out that most of the hollow guitars pre a 335 would have been completely hollow.
Hollow, yeah, like a 330.
Yeah, and that's where you get the terrible, there's so much resonance going on inside the chamber here, it makes the pickups feedback. So actually this was what's called a center block design. So through the middle, it's completely solid, and so therefore doesn't feed back as badly as a completely hollow guitar. Although Pete's right, still perhaps slightly more than a completely solid guitar. It
can do. It depends. Again, it depends on where you are and if you're playing in ears or whatever.
But it's. I love the look and the sound of it. But let's hear some sounds, maybe some cleaner sounds to start with.
I think they sort of so some cleaner sound. This is an Epiphone, so I'm not quite sure how much are these, 700 quid or something. Less than that. Okay, so you got the design that came from the Les Paul, so with the three-way selector switch and the humbuckers in there. So. I'm plugging into a Deputy at the moment, which is a newer designed amp, so it'll definitely be much different than, say, you know, a Fender. I've got actually a Fender amp here. I can plug into the Fender amp. So I'm now in the deluxe head. And this is the Debbie. So if I go on the bridge pickup, we're on the Fender. It's much more of an old-fashioned kind of sound, and I think that these guitars can do that. They can do. Oh, hang on, that was two. Oh, that was two at the same time. How delicious! Yeah. Or they can do that sort of old-fashioned. You know, it can do that kind of sound. So I think that the fact is that if you've got one guitar, you can have a plethora of amps, 3 or 4 amps, and it'll just perform fantastically well with the amp. You know what I mean? Some guitars need a certain amp almost, I feel like sometimes. Where this just can do, man, it's just... Like we're playing in the beginning.
The other thing...
It's so articulate.
The other thing I like to do with my 335,
I like to do that.
Is just play it acoustically. Because it does...
Yeah.
So if I'm just practicing at home and it's quiet enough, it does make enough noise to not even necessarily have to plug in.
I mean, it's a wonderful guitar, and there is. I miss mine. I sold mine. You know, sometimes that needs must. But there's so much in it, just on the neck pickup. You know, that's the kind of... Got the jazz. You got all of that stuff, you know, and then you go and smash on a Dane. And then you got the Foo Fighters kind of sound.
But
right?
that A chord that you played there with the Dane, what I like about the 335 is I actually think feedback is a really musical component of a guitar sound.
I absolutely agree.
And obviously when it's totally
That's why you want a real amp on stage.
Yeah, when it's totally out of control, obviously it's difficult. But when it's controlled, like it was just starting to come through underneath that A.
This one here.
Want a guitar that's going to make sounds like that.
Absolutely, and I guess I'd agree with you that it's a big guitar. It's a big guitar. That's why they did the 339.
Yeah.
So it was a slightly smaller guitar for smaller statued people.
Yeah.
But it's not the same. There's something about the size of this box compared to the 339. In my opinion, I've had a 339 as well, and I didn't like it as much. There was something missing. It's almost like you take 1 foot away from a runner, you know? From an Olympic.
I think the problem with that is because the 339 came out, I'm trying to think when the first ones came out, it'd be in the 90s or the 90s or something like that. this is so ingrained on my brain and my musical psyche. That's how it should look.
Yeah.
When you do one that's like a 3/4 version
It
of
just
it,
looks
it's
weird
like,
as well.
I'm not sure that I necessarily thought it sounded that different.
I
but
thought it
really-
did, but maybe also there's something different between a hollow.
Psychosomatic.
There's a difference between a solid guitar and a hollow guitar when you have it on your body. And if you have, let's say, a 175, for instance, which has got a bigger box on it,
Yeah.
there's much more frequencies going
Yeah.
into your.
That's more
you
like an
can
acoustic
feel.
guitar, really, isn't
But it is. But you still there's something in my opinion. This is me. Guitars attach themselves to the person that's playing them somehow and transfers sound and vibration into the body.
Yeah.
And that transfers back and forth into it's difficult to explain, but do you know what I'm saying? So when you've got something like that, I can feel it. I can feel it here in my ribs and in my chest.
It's funny, isn't it? I mean, when I'm playing I probably find this maybe more with Gibsons generally than with Fender style guitars. But I feel like I want to find the dynamics more.
That's another whole nother
Yeah.
chapter.
So
with this
so I
guitars.
might, I've got an overdrive pedal on here now, but I might sort of. But I've got the volume turned down a little bit here, and maybe I might even take the tone off. So I'll play. That's quiet, and it's in. Are we going to play?
No, I was just.
That's great, but then, but it lends itself as I. Maybe I'll put a bit more in. Take it down a bit. I mean, honestly, man, it's. I don't think my Strats and Tellies, and I love them for lots of other reasons.
Yeah.
I don't think they make me want to just immerse myself in it. Now, an interesting experiment now will be to grab a Les Paul and see whether or not you have the same sensation or whether the 335 is just an extra 5%
It's not the
of
same.
immersiveness.
It's not the same. It's when you listen to it, they might sound similar, but it's a playing experience. I think people forget that the whole thing about when guitars are touching your body and how you feel
Yeah.
it, and when you put your arm on it, and what's coming through you as well as.
Which Les Pauls have we got?
I've got
here
my gold
today?
top here, but
It's quite aggressive, your gold top,
Yeah.
isn't it? Do you want to try the Lemon Burst? Let's do that same kind of chord progression thing and just see whether it's.
You might want to tune that
this'll-
up, but it's
this-
a Gibson after all.
This already feels like it wants to go a bit. Maybe that's the thing with the 335s. It's just that sort of slightly more laid back. Maybe that's what the acousticness of it does.
I mean, I've got a 1961 330, which is and it's attached to the 17th fret, so it's a different 15th fret, so it's a different guitar. That's completely hollow, and playing that guitar is a very, very different experience from playing a 335 altogether. It's completely different, which is amazing. Anyway,
Let's
you
see
play
what
it
happens
again.
if we do now. It does sound very immediately. It's I don't know. It's not as what's the right
It's
word?
not as warm and
It's not
articulate.
leaning itself to having the volume turned down as much. I mean, admittedly, I could probably do with a new set of strings on this, but keep playing that
Okay.
thing again. bringing my 335 back to work again. I need to play it more. I've got a beautiful, I say beautiful, it's a standard, not entry level is the wrong word, but it's like a regular Gibson USA. It's not one of the super posh custom shop ones like that. But it was one of the flame top ones that they do. So some people like the 335 conventionally is a plain top.
Yeah. It's not like
guitar.
this. It's not like this.
No, but every so often they do runs of flame top ones, and I've got a red one from I think the year 2000 or something like that.
Why did I sell mine, man? Well, I know why I sold mine, because I need money, but that's a different thing. But that's done all the Tom Jones gigs and the old Devo stuff and all that with me. So that's the problem when you sell something like that. You let something go that's even though it's just another 335, it's got some kind of...
That's going to be our 2026 guitar for you then. We have to get you a 335 somehow. Because I kind of feel like you've the last 2 years, you've gone very Les Paul-y, haven't you? With your
I love
gold
the Les
top
Pauls,
But I think we need to get you 335s.
I was even looking at 59 in the shop. I was like, oh my God, look at that. I'm like, oh, stop it. Because there's something with Les Pauls. You won't see me playing them often on social media and stuff, but where I just absolutely love it. But this is... this is an Epiphone, bro.
Yeah.
This is incredible. This has got serial number. What is this? Because whoever gets this, 24-111-511889. So ending in 889. Whoever gets this guitar is lovely.
Yeah, and actually, interestingly as well, just these are all small details really, but through the first few years of Gibson making the 335, you will see there was some very, very slight changes to the shape of the ears.
Yeah.
Sometimes they had dot inlays, sometimes they had the block inlays on here.
Yeah, 60s has got the block inlays, right?
But
got the alarm
I think any 335, regardless of whether you go dot or block, or maybe you get a red one or a natural one, or you get one of these lovely burst ones. I think that's a standard US.
Do it a new set of strings, this, but. But that's that, you got that sort of. We got Gary Moore played.
Did he?
There's a clip of him play. Oh, it's going. There's a clip of Gary Moore playing a red 335 where he's just flipping. And he also has that. I don't know. It's such a good guitar. Funnily enough, when I remember playing live with them, I always, because I had a 96, the classic Les Paul I had, the one I had, the gold top I had. It was just too fat. I could never, hardly ever use it. And it was really difficult to use the 335 when you came from like a Telecaster or a Strat, because the sound of it is so different that you almost had to have a second amp for it. And that's a bit of a problem sometimes unless you play the same guitar whole set through and you set your stuff up for it. But it's such a rewarding guitar to play. Does that make sense? When you play a note, there's just, as I say, for me, the whole feel through me and the guitar is just really important. That there's some
have this one to play out. Play over your loop that you did at the beginning.
No, you play.
No, well, we'll jam over that loop.
I'm
going to try the Epiphone. That's the custom shop one. So
that's the custom shop one. I can feel that already here. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want one made very much. Oh, do you know what? I say that.
Oh, hey!
I was just about to say, if you want one made exactly how they were in the old days, but actually, that was if you watch the tour that Pete and I did of the Gibson factory in Nashville.
Yeah.
What blew me away is that the press
that
they used to press the shell of every Gibson guitar, not just custom shop, is the same press that they've had since day one.
That's insane, bro.
Full leaking oil everywhere and all sorts of stuff.
Isn't that just
actually, I say that
mind-boggling?
even right now, if you walk into a shop and you buy the newest 335
That's
you
the
can,
press.
it's the same machine that the very first one was ever made on, which is wicked, right?
And also this.
Sounds great, man. It really does.
Oh, I do. There's something special about these, and I think every time it's like playing the SGs, right? Every time we play an SG in here, it's like, why haven't I got an SG? I had a 78 SG, which I bought for ages ago, for like 500 quid from some guy on a dodgy bag of a van somewhere, and it was all, and it was so good. But
There
this
we
is back
are.
in the day when you.
We just need to start building a library of guitars, don't we? And if it exists, we need to own one. Right, go on, stick the loop on and just jam out for a minute, and then we'll see you in another video soon, probably tomorrow or immediately after this one if you've literally got nothing better to do. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Gibson, for making the 335. Well done.
And continues
Ted
to do it.
McCarty, yes.
Absolutely.
You're a genius.
Yeah.